Hi, my name is Gina Capidu, and I'm honored to be an applicant for the Lived Experience Advocate opportunity. A little bit about me is that I am born and raised in Washington State. I also have lived experience in the child welfare system. I entered foster care when I was about 3, and I got adopted when I was about 10 due to my mother's Munchausen by proxy syndrome. And I actually self-advocated for adoption into one of my many foster homes, where I was then raised by a retired single mother who had immigrated to the States. And through that process, I had great relationships with my social workers. I had a great deal of control in my relationship with my first family, even post adoption, while I was still building my identity and my ties into my adopted one. And as a result of those experiences and seeing the impact that my social worker made in my life, I knew that I wanted to be one too. So I went and got a bachelor's and a master's degree in social work because that's what I was told was the path. And I wanted to get started helping people as fast as possible. So currently, I'm also still working on my professional endeavors with pursuing my licensed independent clinical social work certification so that I can provide direct therapy services to youth and families while expanding my own business, where I'm currently doing training and consultation with child welfare partners that really centers lived experience and multidisciplinary practice. And as you know, my resume highlights, child welfare and advocacy are my passion topics. And I've gotten to work on these topics in the public sector, nonprofit sector, and the hospital sector. I've been part of many coalitions and boards. And within the last couple of years, I've really been able to lean into my lived experience and apply that to the training consultation work that I'm doing locally, statewide, and nationally regarding child welfare issues and the legislative landscape. So for this opportunity in particular, I'm passionate about the role and the issues it focuses on for a few reasons. First, I want to continue expanding my network and my resources for these passion areas. Second, it's going to give me an opportunity to continue harnessing that lived experience power of building multidisciplinary collaborations. And then third, I care about these topics professionally because direct services are going to impact those that I serve. Also, I need and I want competent and passionate partners doing this work with me. And I also know that policy is going to drive the funding, the oversight, and the focus of the work that I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So while those are the professional drivers that focus my efforts, I also know that personally there have been direct changes to policy and legislation that are impacting my own life, those that I love, those that I serve, and the budget to do the work. And I know that the term unprecedented has been used to describe a lot of what I've addressed in my life and my career, and so I want to do something about it. I am realistic about the limitations of the resources and the people, but even if there's not a clear answer, the act of addressing the need with respect, understanding, and hope, that can be an intervention in itself. And I've seen this, and I believe that this role has the means of bringing together partners, of enhancing capacity, and really generating an everyone learns model. And when I was thinking about my unique perspectives and experiences that I bring that's relevant to this work, I did think about the personal professional experiences that are on my resume or the identities that I shared at the start of this video. But I also want to recognize that I identify with many of the populations that are being served with this coalition's efforts. I'm queer, I have Native ancestry, I'm a first generation and a young college graduate, and I grew up in a rural, isolated area that had no public transportation, still doesn't. There's limited internet connectivity. There's high poverty level schools, food deserts. And so when I think about bringing those lenses of overrepresented populations that are impacted by these systems, I take that as a privilege and an opportunity. When I think about also my vision for contributing to this coalition's efforts, I want to speak to how my experiences and my skills are going to help advance that equitable and effective federal policy for children and families. And first, I want to be a learner, I want to be a leader and a partner in peer leadership and crossover spaces. I know that I want to have an impact in the shape of guiding directions and priorities, and I want to be actively engaged in voting and collective decision-making processes. And I want to be a liaison between the coalition and the lived experience communities that I get to be a part of. And this coalition in particular excites me because I'd be in the company of doers. I want to add momentum on the existing projects. I want to find new ways to collaborate on new ones. And I want to find ways to mentor the next generation of leaders over the next 2 years and develop legacy projects that are going to live beyond my time and that the next wave of leadership is going to take and run with and make it even better. And specifically, I want to think about when I'm applying my blend of personal and professional experiences with direct service, with community mobilization, advocacy, legislation, training, technical assistance, all those pieces. There's a few specifics I think of. I want to be effective in creating and implementing and scaling resources up, but also taking larger endeavors and being able to make them applicable at a local level. I also know that I've been a part of many boards and work groups and coalitions across focus areas, and I'm familiar with the stages of development and the group work dynamics and responsibilities that comes with each. And then lastly, past my time, I want to be an ambassador of this coalition's work within my professional lived experience communities because I don't want to gatekeep resources or relationships. I want to share those as well as receive those. I also wanted to close with a few things I think you should know about my strengths and my leadership styles. Primarily, I lead with authenticity, empathy, and collaboration. I'm very reliable, I'm self motivated, and I meet time sensitive deadlines. I can work well alone, and I can also work well in a group. And I will work mornings, evenings, weekends to achieve the milestones and timelines that I need to. But I'm going to balance it with reflection and rest and fun to bring my best self to all that I do. I'm also comfortable working across time zones, and I really strive to provide reasonable response times and requests for projects. And then I also have the technical skills to create and deliver on the projects where I can communicate and adapt to changes in the work styles and capacity of my peers. But I also have the soft skills of finding common ground, building partnership through active listening. I can read when to step up versus when to step back, and I can balance having a deliverable work now, but also thinking about overall strategy for the future. Last, I also have the capacity to meet the requirements of time and possible travel because I have a very flexible schedule and a supportive manager. But I do want to say that I'm grateful for your consideration and I look forward to next steps because I think that I can add to this work and I think I can learn from it as well.